Yo, what's going on?
What are you doing on Friday? No. Did you already have a winning day? Nice. Oh, well, you don't need them all. Like what? Like yesterday. What are you adding? Like a Tory style trend line. So like a continuation basically. Yeah. That's what I do. Yeah. Takes me a little while. By the time everything turns red, it takes a couple candles for me. So I'm getting in kind of. Yeah, if you look at regular candles on a reversal, my entry is going to be almost halfway. I don't know how to say, not halfway, but yeah, So if it's just like a small pullback, whatever, yeah, I'm getting in on like probably the third candle and getting out on the fourth, and maybe it turns around on the fifth or even on the fourth. So yeah, 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 and it keeps me out of a lot of fake outs. There's a lot of times, like especially on days like yesterday, I know a lot of people. Well, I don't know, but I'm figuring a lot of people got burned trying to catch the top there after about 10:30, just because the price action, and then it whipped around for about 20 minutes. Look, so I think, and then also I used the 2 minutes, so that makes it even longer. So that's why I really like what I do. But the thing is, with the way you're doing it, which I'm happy that you're doing what you're doing because most people don't. When you're new, you don't want to hear this, but you kind of got to make something of your own. You kind of got to carve your own path. And when you're new, it's difficult, right? It's like, well, how the hell am I going to design? Like, I don't know how to trade. How am I going to design my own trading system? It's hard. It really is. But at the end of the day, that's the only way that it's really going to work long term. If you want to follow somebody and copy somebody, you can. But you know what? Most of the time, all you're really trying to do deep down is you're just trying to copy somebody to make some money. You're not actually learning, right? So, at the end of the day, yeah. Yeah. Yep. And honestly, it worked out like gold yesterday too. It was really literally at like pretty much 11:30, a little bit after. Yeah. You just get caught up in the moment, right? And you forget certain things, but that's for yep. Yeah. No, not really. Well, I mean, yeah. I think with my system you could if not necessarily follow, but I mean it's to the point where you could actually just learn the system and kind of do a couple things. I take the odd trade where it's kind of like a little bit outside of my rules, and more times than not it works, but sometimes it burns me and stuff. But yeah, I'm happy you're doing that. I like what you're doing, and it's cool. And you, oh, I was gonna say you get a better risk reward that way too. When you're going in on the 1 minute, you might get a couple losses where I don't, but then you're getting probably at least a 1-to-1, maybe closer to 1-to-3 sometimes, eh? By the looks of it. Oh, not. Yeah, you're growing as a trader. You're getting different emotions. You're just gaining confidence in what you're doing with time. Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, that's what it is. But you just build confidence. That's why your feelings are changing because, and I've been through. I mean, we've all been through it. When you're new, it's like you want to be a profitable trader. That's the goal. But when you get a loss, that's and I took it hard too. This is probably one reason why I struggled for so long. Well, part of the reason. One another reason was because I just enjoyed trading. So even if I didn't make money, I get so much enjoyment out of it that it didn't matter, which wasn't good because I'm trying to make money, not just have fun. So it was like a hobby. But it was like, when you're new, at least for me, it's got to be true for some people. It's like every win you get is like is like it almost, if you look back, it's like a step towards your dream. Like you get a win, okay. It feels like you're getting a step closer to your overall goal and your dream. But then when you get a loss or a couple losses, it's like something is taking your dream away from you. You know what I mean? And it's super hard, like especially when you're really into it, like you are, and host and some guys. It's that emotional. It's like it's either the win confirms your dream, or the loss is like taking the dream right out from under you, and it's like it's bad. But the thing is to just keep grinding it out. It's just like just it's like fighting. You just keep taking the punches, and you're gonna get your good punch back, and you're gonna get it. So you're gaining. I think you're gaining confidence in your system, and the reason why the losses don't matter is because you're gonna get it back. You know what I mean? Even if I have a losing day, I don't like it. You're never gonna like it, but you're gonna know if you stick with it, it's gonna come around, and you don't need to. You don't need to profit every single day to hit your target at the end of the month or the quarter or the year. You know what I mean? You should think, if people thought, oh, by the end of the year, could I make that back? You know, even if they had a decently losing day, they'd say, oh yeah, I could, you know, I could probably make it back by the end of the year. So if you think about that after a loss, it's like, oh, okay, well, I have all year to make this back. No big deal. But, but some people put themselves in situations where it's like they got debt and they need this money to pay, and then that's where you don't have all year to get it back. Yeah. 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 Yep. And it's the same for my system. Like when I'm doing the rotations, right? You got to be careful. And I do that all the time, dude. I get my net five winners for the week. I did better this week, but just because the market was telling me that, hey, it's looking better. But yeah, I miss a lot, and it's okay. You know what I mean? If you're not sure, and over time, maybe you'll catch them more often. But you know, it's fine to say, hey, that's setting up and it worked. Okay, that's just, even though you didn't trade it, make money. At least you can say, hey, like what I'm doing works. It's making, it's working when I'm not even trading it. And then the other thing is, that's good about that is when you're not in a trade with money, then or whatever, it doesn't matter even what type, even if it's a prop or whatever. If you're just not in a trade and you just sit there and watch, you're gonna absorb more information and more stuff about the trade because you're not worried about your P&L, where your stop is. You're just looking. You're just reading price action, right? So, and you're not worrying about the trade. You're just looking at the setup. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, what did you hear last? Yeah, I was just saying that when you're not in a trade, then it's good just to read price action, and that's pretty much it. It just gives you a chance, even if you don't. It just gives you a chance to ignore the trading part of it and just focus on just the reading the price action and getting that skill. Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest skill. You're gonna learn what is a trend day. You're gonna just be able to read it and know, hey, this isn't my time to trade, or it is my time to trade. I think that's where my edge is. It's just reading short term price action. I did it so much with my other, like that rollover yesterday when I got RTY. I was looking at it and I was having like memories and flashbacks of my other trading stuff, and like it's like I was looking at it, I'm like, man, I've seen this roll over so many times. I've seen it go up, chop down, look like it's going up, break the highs, look like it's going, and then you get this rollover shape, and I can't explain it because it's just something that I recognize. But um, and I was thinking back, I was like, man, I remember trading the old rip and dip stuff, and like I've seen this like time and time and time again over the years. And I wasn't gonna trade. I was already like well past my weekly target, and I wasn't gonna trade. But the thing is, um, I knew the setup so well. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. No, it takes yeah, and you get better. Yeah, you're doing it in more of a raw way too. I wouldn't be surprised if you do that for a while and you get back into a little bit of what I'm doing too. Do a little bit of both because they're so related. Not that I care, but it's just because they're so related. You know what I mean? The stochastics print a little different on Heiken too, as far as I can tell. Yeah, I want this to pump up here for 15 minutes. My stochastics are overbought, but I want to get the sell orders out of the way here. First 10, 15 minutes, and I'll see. I'm actually not trading today. Well, I'm not live because I can't, but because I'm 1.75 my weekly goal, so I'm not even. I never planned to trade today after yesterday, so today's just a day off. Pardon? Oh, sim. I'm not even gonna sim. Actually, well, maybe a little. I'm gonna. I was looking at the forex side of things, yeah, because I can trade QQQ on forex, and then I can trade the futures on forex side, and I can take much smaller size, and the increments are better. Like for ES, each point is 0.25, so quarters. You know what I mean? So 4 quarters to the point on ES. Where on the forex side, it's the same instrument. It's still futures, but instead of quarters, it's tenths. So 10 tenths make the dollar. And the price movements seem to be a little smoother. I don't know how to say it, but seems to be a little more. The price action seems to be a little more liquid, a little more thick, and it doesn't whip as bad because I don't know if it were to jump a couple price levels. Well, on the future side, that's like a couple points maybe, but on the forex side, it's might be a point and a half, and it seems to be all right. So I'm just watching that, and I was gonna set up a sim account and maybe try to trade it. Yeah, and one broker has an ECN account, so I'm gonna see what the fees are because there's no spread, which is good. So you'll hit your targets kind of a little better, but I don't know what the fees are for a trade. So I'm just playing around with that today. Just for fun. not gonna have. Okay. Here's the breakdown. A little bit of a trend line break. So we got the boom candle, the retracement, and then the trend. Let's see what we're sold. Depends on how it breaks here, but it's probably because we had that 8:30. We had that 8:30 spike on news, whatever that was. I forget now. I should check it out. So like I always said, the book's gonna be thin there, so it'll probably want to come down and fill some of that. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I demoed this. I just took a short on NQ demo. It's a nice little trend line break plus everything else. So I assume we're probably gonna get a little push down here for a minute or two just to recover, fill some of that book. Well, we're almost halfway into it by now, though. Almost a little late. Look at YM holding. Look at how strong it is. Look at RTY's coming up. Yeah, that's not good. So 2 are down, 2 are up. Getting some positive delta here on these on this candle. ES and NQ. Still, yeah. Yeah, we're seeing some positive delta. Yeah, it's not. If the YM doesn't come down, it's not coming down. So, yeah, R2Y's breaking out. We'll see. I'm still in. I'm still in my short for NQ, but see what happens. What is it for you? Well, it's kind of a little choppy at the moment. Yeah. Looks like the YM's ready to break down in RTY. So if they're ready, then the other two might be, but yeah. It's kind of early. Here we are, then we're 15 minutes in, so. Yeah, YM's looking nice. I have to put some on that. Yeah, come on. Kurva! Come on! Tabernacle! There, okay. There we go. Yeah, YM's the nicest. Here we go. Here we go. Done what? Holy cow. 3 wins and you're out. Probably not. For the week? That's pretty good for the week. Did you make money this week or what? That's alright. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Yeah, the market's all fucking disjointed here. They're all different. YM, RTY. Okay, so I hit my target on YM. That was lovely. No. No. And here we... Hold on. For which one? YM? I'll show you. That was the trade. Trend line. It was kind of a trend line break, but it's kind of more of a safe entry rather than just taking the first boom candle, which actually this was the first boom candle, to be honest with you, on YM. The first valid one was right here, and it also kind of broke this trend. And if you look at the bottom, everything was squeezed toward the... So it was just your classic twin rotation. That's all it was. And then NQ, I got in on this boom candle. My stop was up here. So it rolled over. Oh, yeah. I know what you're saying. They're two different trades. I'm not going to say one's better than the other. But it depends on how quick it goes up there, too, and stuff like that. I don't mind either way. I like to see them up there for a while. It works for me. Yeah, so I mean, it's probably no good for you if it's up there all day because you're going to get a couple divergences on the smaller time frame, and they're not going to work because. But if it shoots up there quick, like it did this morning with that news and everything, it's likely going to pull back quick too. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Should come down most of the way. Probably landed on support somewhere. Yeah. Could be. I'm not saying that part of it. I'm just saying the first part where it's probably going to want to go down and rebalance. Um, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that's the next step is like now that's where I don't. I know where my lanes are, kind of thing. I know what I can predict and what I can't, and that's what I can't. I can tell you there's probably a high probability we would turn around and try to refill the book. After that, I can't say if there's a high probability of it going back up or continuing down. I don't know at this point. Um, that's not my expertise. I'm the step one guy. My crystal ball doesn't go that far into the future. You know what I mean? I do, but it just doesn't go that far. It only goes a couple minutes. I don't have like a half hour ahead or nothing. Yeah, I need to jailbreak the firmware so I can get further ahead with my predictions. Yeah, I'm gonna install Cydia on my crystal ball. That way I can get all the banned crystal ball apps. Oh, no doubt. Kurva. Tabernacle. This looks like continuation though on the 1 minute. But we'll see. It's Friday. See, that's the thing, man. I think this is why I was trying to figure out why maybe I do better earlier in the week than later, especially Mondays. I do really well. I think it's because you know how people. You've probably heard it. People are like, oh, just wait. Don't trade Mondays because it's kind of choppy, and give the market a little bit of time to kind of choose direction. I think that's why it doesn't work for me because I think Thursdays are typically, historically, more trend days than they are chop days. Thursday and Friday, I think the bigger moves happen, and that's probably why my probability is a little less. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. And it's good because the market chops more than it trends. But yeah, I mean, for reversals, it's good because it's more predictable. It's not going to go to the moon, right? It's going to, a typical regular balanced market. It's going to go up for a little while and it's going to come down for a little while. It's like the Elliott wave theory. It goes up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit, right? So it's more predictable that way. And here we are at 10 a.m. I don't know if there's news, but we got some speed happening. Was there anything at 10? Oh, 10 was factory orders. Okay, I had one on. I posted in chat to factory orders, so it wasn't much. It was just a quick little whip. Oh yeah. Oh, host said good job, brother. Host logic, Greg. He said told you good job on your photo. You got your three. Oh, so you said you got your 3 wins, and host said good job. He said glad you like John's system. It got me out of some real bad times when I was having issues trading ICT, and it's a huge part of my trading now. Yeah, a good portion of what I do is based off of what John does there as well. quad stochastics and the rotation. And I first saw it from Host in the other group, and then I found Day Trading Radio, and I thought, hey, well, why don't I just... I knew the boom candles worked, but I just didn't know which ones to take. So I figured, hey, if I get a boom candle with a quad rotation together, maybe those ones would be higher probability. And then I said, well, what if I had a higher time frame and only take the boom candles on the small time frame and the higher time frame starting to rotate? And then it was like front running the higher time frame. And it worked good. Still works good. Oh, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Holy poosicle, this friggin' thing. Probably gonna get stopped on my NQ. Yeah, the Forks is moving a little... I don't know. This moves a little different.
Oh, boom. It broke
Those
the
NDX.
bullfrog, eh? It broke it with a divergence on the 9.3 and the 14.3, which is huge for me. So maybe it's gonna be a big move.
Stopped on the NASDAQ trade. I think I would have hit profit if I was in futures, though. 15, 40, yeah, I would have. Well, maybe not. There's a lot of range there.
I cannot. It's pixels now.
Nah, it
I
was...
cannot see.
Might have hit. I wouldn't have... But I would have traded that if I was on...
Yeah.
If I was in my
I,
real accounts, I wouldn't even have traded because...
yeah, I know.
Ooh, I was looking for a trade the first couple minutes, but after about 8 or 10 minutes and I seen the price action, then I wasn't interested no more.
Yeah.
Other than
London
YM.
was
I might have
right.
took YM. I might have took that. London
London
was
was a
good.
really okay.
Yeah. Boris
Small
Johnson's treating you
channel.
well.
Sorry?
Boris Johnson was treating you well for the London session.
Which I don't know this guy.
Okay. I'm just kidding around.
Which one? Who is he?
He used to be like the president of the UK.
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
He was a funny
No, I don't
fella.
know. President. I don't know.
He was a funny guy.
Since they left the eurozone, it's quite, we don't get much info. At least to hear it from somewhere outside, because I'm not observing the news, of course.
Yeah.
Haven't seen TV since I was, I don't know how old, way, way younger.
Okay, I gotta go pee really bad and make a new coffee. So I'll be back in like
All right.
5 minutes
Yeah,
probably.
man. I'm I'm jealous. I'm gonna make one too.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go make two. How about that?
Then we open the coffee shop.
I'm gonna go sniff coffee grounds. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay,
What
see
you
ya.
gotta say now? Huh? Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna make a tea, okay? I'm gonna be a pussy.
Curva.
I'm back.
Same.
No.
Yo.
Let's see. That's a good bear flag there, eh?
On what?
Yes. I'm only looking at the yes.
What time frame?
1 minute. Uno.
No.
Ooh. Divergence on the 1000 volume. Potential on the 5 minute. No, 22 ranges.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, that's a V-shaped reversal, V-shaped recovery, especially on the 1 minute.
Uh-huh.
It's not a bear flag to
But it
me.
could go a double bottom and then down. Double bottom. Double top.
Yeah, I don't know. 3 minute might be a little. It's almost just come too high though. Well, but we're hitting a little bit of a top here. A little bit, not a top, but a bit of resistance on the left. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's probably. I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably gonna go up. To be honest with you.
Divergence
That
invalidation.
was, judging by the
Not
shape of
valid,
that recovery, that looks more like a second buy entry for these guys. to go higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably say we'd end the morning by up a lot, more likely up than down, by the looks of it.
Okay.
But hey, I don't know. Nobody knows nothing, right? So
No, man. Yeah, of course. That's the first rule.
just, and the
I
only
mean,
reason I say it is just because of that V-shaped recovery, the way it recovered from that push down and
yeah.
how fast it was.
You're just saying that it's highly probable to go up
In
based
my opinion,
on the movement. Yeah, man.
we'll see what happens at high. So
Mm-hmm. Though my all my divergences are validated, like
yeah, the
nothing is
market's a
valid.
little bit stupid today. So if I zoom out a little bit on the 2 minute, there was a high at 9:15 on all of them almost, and ES is almost there. YM's only halfway there. NQ has broke that high, and RTY is kind of in the same spot as ES. So I don't know.
How
It's looking
many ticks
stronger than it is weaker.
was the news? 86 on years. Yeah, okay. News. You see that, for example, that 953 bottom there, it wasn't divergence, but it was a good quad rotation.
Oh
That's
yeah.
an example of, yeah, that's an example of what I take as well.
Okay. Yeah.
When I said it's a good time to long here, I don't know if you remember.
I remember. I was short.
Yeah, yeah, the way, yeah, yeah.
But
We're
I ended
laughing
up.
because
I ended up
it was
getting.
a serious.
I got stopped on the NQ though. But that was just well. But that was like I said on the forex side. I don't know. It moves a little different. I really got to watch it.
I, I decided that I'm gonna stick at least for a little bit with ES only.
You should.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. It's highly liquid. A lot of volume. It's nice to only have to grab a couple, like even like 6 ticks on ES. I mean, that's a decent trade.
Yeah, it's actually
You know, 6,
really
12,
good because
15
it
ticks.
plays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
6 ticks on the London or New York.
oh, well, I guess London. New York, this, I guess, is not
Yeah.
much, but
Yeah, exactly.
maybe 10. I
London
guess, well, I
is
do 10 or
amazing.
12 on New York, and that's fine for me. I'm just saying, and you could do moves like that and manage your risk. You know what I mean? Like NQ,
Yeah,
it's hard to manage your risk sometimes because the range. You have to give it more room to play. So that means you have
okay.
to give your targets more space to make up for it. So no, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you can get the trade volume that you want in a week, stick with it.
Hmm.
You would probably you would probably be better off looking at YM as the next instrument before you would look at anything else.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because it's more professionally traded. It's similar to ES in that fact where there's a lot of professionals, there's a lot of algorithms and stuff, and you know it'll recognize certain things like the golden zone on the fib. It'll recognize moving average crossovers, trend line breaks. There's always going to be algos there to push those moves. How far you don't know, but go look at any trend line break on the like a clear trend line break on the ES, the YM, or just look at trend lines. You'll notice that it'll push through. There's just a lot of algos in it, and there's a lot of professionals in YM where there's a lot less professionals in NQ, and the order books the volume's a little bit lower in NQ, but yeah, like go on Reddit, go on anywhere. You don't see a bunch of newbies trading YM. You know what I mean? They're all trading NQ or ES.
Oh,
So you know what I mean? It's more YM's just more professionally traded. So that's why you don't see all the newbies going, "Oh, I nailed this move on the YM," because they ain't
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at it. But
But YM, does it have liquidity?
yeah, it's got a lot, and it moves smooth, and the ticks are
Okay,
nice.
I'm gonna observe that just
Just
because
yeah,
I'm curious. I'm gonna do it on weekend.
yeah. I would say that would be that would be your best runner up to ES. I think would be YM by far. RTY is not bad, but it can be it changes
No, no,
its
I don't
mood
need
a lot.
that.
RTY, you know what I mean? Some days it's running good, some days it's running choppy, some days, um, it's always different. You know what I mean? You really got to watch RTY and understand how it feels that day.
Yeah, my relationship with RTY is not it's not that good. So I would
No,
prefer to. Yeah,
I understand. Yep, I don't mind
yeah.
RTY. I like it at certain times. There's certain times when if you can
I
recognize it.
spilled my coffee. Yeah. What?
For me, anyways, when an R2Y, like if you, I can recognize that it's running good and smooth. I like
Hmm.
trading it because it can be real good. It's like the guy in the corner that nobody pays attention to, and when it's running good, it's running real good. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's not one that you would never say, hey, well, some people might, but most people wouldn't say, hey, I trade R2Y day in day out every single day
yeah,
because you know what, it's small caps and they're just not always in play. Simple as that.
yeah. I don't like small caps.
No.
I have it. I have flashbacks from crypto. I don't need
Yeah. So
them.
I like it. It's also
It,
like a breadth market breadth indicator for me. Like I like having the four indices up and seeing how they move together. But
yeah, yeah. For me, it's a little bit difficult.
yeah,
It didn't end up good when I had both ES and NQ. At least NQ, no, I don't need that.
no, you'd be better off with ES and YM.
Yeah. Wait, give me a second to grab some
Yep.
paper because. No, no. Do you agree?
Me?
Yes.
Who, who's the lady?
My mother.
Oh, mama.
Mama.
Okay, so
So what?
oh yeah, I was just looking at the charts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of of those times that you get distracted there.
Yeah, I was just looking at seeing what's going on here. So we've double topped on ES,
Mm-hmm.
rolling over on YM, 1023, getting into the first hour. There's going to be. Do you ever look at the opening range, Holy?
I
The
have
first
it always
the
on
first
my chart.
hour of the day?
Ah, oh no, no. I thought you were, but no, not the first hour, but
Yeah,
the
so this is
open.
a big one. This is a huge strategy for all types of people, actually. I see a lot of newbies do it, but I see a lot of professionals trade it too, but they have different ways.
All as well.
Yeah.
At
So,
London.
yeah. So the morning we peaked out around 9:28, basically wherever that 9:30 high is, and now we have that low at 9:50. That's the first hour range. So people will be, and the idea is that I think it's like 85 or 90% of the time, if
Yeah.
it's within that range after the first hour, it's gonna break one way or another. It's gonna break that and
Okay.
go for a little bit.
Can you
So
can you show it on your screen
yeah, I
to
am. So I marked it on YM.
wait because it doesn't load. Wait.
You can go to
Ah,
YouTube
okay.
if it doesn't
Yeah,
load.
yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. All right.
So we've broken the morning range on NQ, but if you look at YM, we're within it, and if you look at ES, we're getting towards the top.
Okay.
And R2Y is kind of breaking it. So yeah, that's the morning
And
range.
okay, now at the range between 9:30 and 10:30, right?
Yeah, it's called
Oh,
it the opening range. Opening range breakout is like a basic kind of strategy, kind of like bear flags, bull flags, and trend line breaks. Opening range breakout. Some people will do it in like the first 10 minutes, or they won't have a time. Sometimes they just kind of wait for it to make a range. Could happen at 9:40, could happen by 10, but there is one specific one, which is the first hour's range, and the probability
yeah.
is 85 or 90% that it's going to break that first hour's range and go for a little bit. So ES, we're getting towards the top here. So there's going to be a lot of people. As soon as it breaks here, it's going to rip on
Okay.
ES. Guaranteed. Like I am,
That's a
it's
good info to know as well.
what is it now?
Does it
You're
happen
probably going to
that
get
close?
at least 10 points if it breaks, or it's going to fake a lot of people out and go back to the bottom side of that range. That's another common thing. That's why I don't trade it, because I don't like it. It'll poke, making everybody think it's
London
going to go.
session is the same as well between
Yeah,
3 and 4
yeah.
a.m. Okay.
I don't know if it is. I don't trade London.
Yeah, sorry. Don't beat me. Okay, man. Sorry.
No, no. I thought you were
I
telling
don't
me.
trade London.
No, no. Sorry. It could be the same.
Hmm. I need a pole masterclass.
Yeah, this guy. He said he was starting to delete his old YouTube videos and stuff.
Why?
I don't know. He's getting all paranoid. He's like, oh, if you know the industry and you know how he thinks people are going to see his videos, and then the people that fuck with the market are going to fuck up his strategy. I don't know. But anyways, I download all his YouTube videos, so if he deletes any more, I have them all downloaded anyway. This guy. I've never seen a person change hairstyles so often as him.
Mm.
And it's crazy. I don't know where all the hair comes from. One time you'll have it clean shaved on the side, and a little bit long at the top. And it'll be like 2 weeks later, and all of a sudden you'll have a fucking full on ponytail. I'm like, where the hell did all that hair come
Hair,
from in 2 weeks? Like, who grows
hair
hair that
transplant.
quick?
Hair transplant, man. That's the solution.
Okay, so here's the break. So we're probably going to get at least 10 points here on the ES.
Let's see.
So it broke at 57. I would say, yeah, probably, you know, it might pull back before then, but you probably get at least 10 points.
Yeah, maybe reverse back and then go back.
Yeah, and it could just be a liquidity grab and go back to the bottom of the range. But that's what people are watching. They're watching that range. I could actually highlight the area.
Let's see if you are liking me
Region
or not
highlight.
telling the truth. Okay. It's still a bear flag, though.
You and your bear flags.
Yeah. Now you're gonna hear it all the time, man. I'm sorry.
It's not a bear flag. And then we have YM coming up to the top of that range. Bang, bang. There, I marked it up. And what did NQ? So some people will trade the retest, Holy? And this is what happened on NQ.
Oh, yeah.
So if you see it broke, it come back, retested, and then if you take the bull flag after the break, bang, bang, trend line break, stop below the low. Away you go. So it's the break. It's called the BNR, the break and retest.
Let's see if ES is gonna do the same. Yeah.
It probably will, but maybe on the 1 minute you'll see it better. I don't know.
Oh, it fucked up my charts again, man. Fucking ninja. Yeah. Okay. A good time to sort now, huh?
Could be. Might go right down to the bottom of the range now. Yeah, I would short this. Fuck yeah.
Eh,
Nice little trend
maybe.
line break. Fuck yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't short it. I only stick to my
Yeah.
rules.
Hey there.
What's going
Hello.
on? This guy's alive. Hey, Holy.
Yeah.
He went to the washroom and
What's
then we didn't hear
happening,
from him
man?
for 24 hours. I thought maybe he
For
got
like a
into a
fucking 24
gunfight.
hours.
I thought maybe you got into a little gunfight there in the washroom and then that was the end of it.
Oh man, it was kind of a sketchy rest area. Oh man, I'm stuck at Walmart trying to get this thing delivered. It's all I'm trying to do, and these guys are just being pricks about it.
Why?
But
Wrong paperwork or what?
and it's a hazmat load, and they're really particular about the hazmat loads for some reason. I mean, it's just that helium that was in there, but
It's fucking
as soon as
helium.
I yeah, and as soon as I drop that paperwork in the receiving, they're like, "Oh, this can't be dropped off. It has to be all this crap." I'm like, "Dude, no, it doesn't." I basically spent as much time arguing with them before I finally got permission to drop the trailer. They could have just live offloaded the damn thing by that point, but
Yeah.
anyhow, that's what I was dealing with. And then I've got my next load I'm picking up in Cincinnati, and it could be ready now or potentially until later this afternoon. And I'm like, well, I really kind of need to know because it's downtown Cincinnati, and I don't want to just go there and hang out. So, oh
You know what we
God,
do?
the joys
We're
of
gonna put.
trucking, guys.
You know what we're gonna do next time? You got a hazmat. We're
Uh,
gonna put a fifth wheel plate on there from a shunt truck, and you just back up to the dock and you just lift the bitch up and fucking pour it all out like a dump truck.
oh, just fucking tie
There's
a
your
dang freaking
hazardous
strap to the
material.
back of it. Yeah, tie a freaking strap to the back of the pallet and just go.
Yeah. Oh my god, they're gonna
Oh God,
explode.
guys. Right? It's gonna float away, man. It is full of helium.
Yeah, you must have been underweight on that load, eh?
Dude, it was only like 20,000 pounds too. It was a pretty light load, honestly. But man, just trying to get this freaking trailer out of here, it's like pulling freaking teeth.
Of course,
Man.
it was light. You're
Alright.
hauling helium. It's negative weight.
Yeah.
If it was full of oxygen, it would probably weigh more.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that. How come those
mean,
oxygen containers don't float away? Or sorry, the helium. They got a lot of helium in them.
yeah.
You
Oh,
would think they
cool.
would
Hang on
float.
just a second, guys. I've got to go check out here.
Piss on those guys.
Oh,
How come nobody knows what they're
how's
doing?
y'all's?
You know what I mean? Is this the first
Dude,
time they've
nobody.
taken helium or what? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just a freaking hazmat load, but people want to be pricks about it.
Yeah, but
I mean, they just really do.
they've taken helium deliveries before. You can't be the first guy to go deliver helium there, right?
Or even just hazmat in general. Like, I mean,
Like-
it could be like lighters is a really big deal for these guys because they like selling lighters a lot,
Yeah.
and that's always a freaking issue.
That's why I don't. It's like the goldfish mentality, man. New day, everything they've learned up until this point is just gone, and it's a whole new day. Oh,
How you
hazmat
doing,
trailer.
guys?
Sorry, I'll leave you. I think your Bluetooth's disconnecting. I think.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, Doug, I had to walk to the back of the truck real
Yeah,
quickly.
sorry.
Open the doors.
No, you
Yeah,
said
no,
you
no,
had
that's
to
fine.
go. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
drives me nuts stuff like
I
that.
just
It's
had
like,
to.
come on, guys, how many
Well,
hazmat loads have you taken? It shouldn't be this big of a deal
Dude,
anymore.
I've done 2 hazmat loads since I've worked for this company in about a year now. And it's like they're not even that complicated. It's like, but the one stupid thing you absolutely have to have is in the States is a hazmat guide. You have to have a hazmat guide
Which is,
because it
what's
just
that?
tells you if, well, it tells you, it's like an emergency response guide where, if it
Okay.
wrecks, here's what you got to do. If it spills, here's what you got to do. If it catches fire, here's how you put it out. And you have to have it because you have to look up a code. Everything a hazmat has a code, and then that tells you which set of instructions to follow, and then you're able to kind of like how to handle it basically.
Sure. Yeah.
So not really too difficult, but very, very, like, if you get caught pulling a hazmat load without that, holy shit, you are in some freaking trouble.
Yeah.
So it's not even, but I mean, so it's just a small book, but you absolutely have to have it. And I couldn't find it at a truck stop. And finally, I actually had a friend of mine that had one, and he actually had a spare one. Just another driver I seen at a drop yard. He's like, "Oh, here, man, you can have this one." I'm like, "Fucking thank God." And that was on the first hazmat load that I picked up. But how's y'all's morning going? How's trading?
I'm not trading today because I beat my target by almost 2 times
Yeah.
yesterday, so I didn't trade at all. Well, I just sim traded on like Forex, but
Oh, that's good.
not really much. There was one really good one. You know what? You could have grabbed YM. It was a really, really good setup this morning. Really good.
Yeah.
That would have been the trade of the day. Is YM here this morning. Had it been a different day of the week or different, I would have probably taken that one.
Well, I took that quick. I kind of seen on all the indicators when it looked like it was wanting it flushed down, then it pulled back a little bit, and then just the stochastics were rolling over. Everything was rolling over. It
Yeah.
was like about 10 minutes after the open, and I'm like, yeah, let me go and take this. So I jumped into just a like a 5 micro trade, and it just freaking dumped. I'm like, well, that works good. So I did like man, almost 400 on a funded account.
Yeah, yeah.
Geez, it's over. It's already over at 2,000 now.
Nice. Yeah, that was the
I'm gonna get it.
that was the same
Do
time
it.
for the YM trade. Yeah, they all kind of pushed
Yeah,
down there.
yeah,
Yeah, that would have been the
yeah,
trade of the day.
yeah. They all kind of like pulled back. Yeah, because it looked like it was like pulling back to grab liquidity, and then that was the fake out, and it was gonna come back in reverse. But I'm like, no, it's not done yet. This is just a inducement to get people to change directions, and then poof, all of a sudden they're gonna turn it around on you. So I kind of seen that coming because it loves to do that, especially like before 10 o'clock, because it wasn't even 10 o'clock yet. That usually
Yeah.
happens for a good half hour before you're really going to catch any trades in the opposite direction. So I'm like, yeah, that worked out good. So I did that, and then I got out of the funded account, jumped into an eval that I guess must have rebuild last night, and took a rebuild just with one mini on it, and holy crap, dude, it just kept on going and going and going. So I'm like, that'll work. And then finally it started to pull back on everything again. So I'm like, all right, time to get out now. So that's about what I did.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much it for
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I took a couple little trades on the eval from the stream deck, and just a couple 10-point trades, like two quick 10-point scalps when it finally did reverse and go back the other way, and so I grabbed a little bit of that, and it was only just a couple $100, just like literally 2-3 micros, and you know,
Yeah. How's the stream deck working? Is it
eh,
still operating good?
dude, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still want to get that other chart put together like I wanted to, where I could just bring up a separate chart to where I could, bring up the window like the order window, but then
Yeah.
be able to minimize it, even if it's a separate button to like bring it up and then to minimize it again. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to figure out how to do. And in the video that you shared to me too, it literally told you because it did that for like Paint and I think something like Notepad. I think he brought up Paint and Notepad
Yeah.
in the one thing, and I agree. You should do one script per thing so that way it doesn't get messed
Yeah.
up. And that's not even a big deal. But yeah, it'd be nice to be able to have that second group of buttons on the second window and be able to bring up the charts. And then, like you said, that was a good idea to tab over for just different different assets on the one page, so you don't have like another 20 charts loaded. You just have the one
Exactly.
with the separate tabs on it. So that's perfect right there.
But
So
you haven't.
over the weekend, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Have you not been able to figure it out, or
Yeah.
you just didn't really put the time in to do it?
I
Like, are
just
you
haven't
having
had the
trouble?
I just haven't had the
Okay.
time. No, I don't think I'm no, I'm not having trouble. I haven't really tried it yet
It's
to say
gonna
I'm having trouble. I
be.
haven't even
It'll
attempted it.
literally be like the exact same as you do to bring the window to focus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
know if it's
And
two
then just do
scripts. I don't know if it's one script to maximize or one script to minimize, or if you can
and
just
then
use
one to
one.
minimize.
I
Just
don't
hit it
know.
again. Yeah, like yeah.
Yeah. And then you would just have
Well,
what you would do is you'd set up another profile on your Stream Deck at the
yeah.
bottom right, and you would go over.
Well,
You already have
e-
that button, I think, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And then
To
yeah, the
switch
one
over to the
button
second page. Yeah,
would bring it up. One button might minimize it, and then you'd have another button, which is the Shift Tab button, or to switch through the
yeah.
tabs.
To tab over. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Basically, just recreate that button, but on the second page, and then have one to bring it up, one to. He actually goes over it in the example, and I'm literally going to just bring it up on the laptop to where I can literally just copy what he
Yeah.
wrote and just use my own hotkeys, of course, and then see how that works basically. So that's pretty much all it is a script to run the hotkey. So it could be anything that you want to do. You just got to be able to put it in there in the right order, so it brings it up and down. So it makes sense, honestly. It really does. I've never even seen anything like that before, and just it's so cool that you literally click on this. You got something running in the background that has such control over your computer. It's like it's scary almost because it's like, man, easy that would be to just put on someone else's computer to like, hey, open up a link and then
Oh.
send me your password information and shit like that.
Oh, if you know anything about hacking, oh yeah, you can do a ton of shit. But so I was just
Oh God,
as we're
dude.
talking here, I opened up Windows Spy. You know how you grab the ID of the
Okay.
window, and I
Yeah.
might have figured something out. So I was looking. You know how it starts with chart or ES6 or whatever. It starts with the instrument name. I'm noticing
Yeah.
if you go to the second line where it starts with AHK underscore class, that stays the same no matter what tab you're on.
Yeah.
So if you were to just, when you build the script, if you were to skip the first line, which has the instrument, and if you were to just copy that second line, you might be able to bring up that window. Doesn't matter what tab it's on. So say you were on the third tab and you closed it, you would probably be able to bring that window up even though it's not on the first tab because you didn't include the instrument name with the window information.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I mean if you don't understand because obviously I have it up and I'm looking at it.
Could you put it up on your screen that you're sharing, or just
Oh
maybe
yeah,
send
can
me
you
a
see
screenshot
it?
of it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, so normally when you make the script, this is what you copy, right? Chart ES1, this
Yeah.
is right here. But look,
Yeah.
see when I change the tab, boom, it changes to chart ES2 because that's the name of the tab.
Okay.
But if you notice the second
Yeah.
line right here, it doesn't change. Just the second line. Doesn't matter what tab I'm on. You know what I mean?
Huh. Just
So
the
it should
window ID,
recognize
basically.
this whole window without having to define what tab. Now watch if I move my mouse to another window, YM, you'll notice the second line changes. So it'll recognize each window has its own like fancy little random ass code. So I'm wondering, and I know it'll work. I know you don't need that first part. You just need any one of these. So I give that a try. When you build your script, just take this second line.
Yeah.
Close your window on the first tab, bring it up. Move it to the second tab, close the window, and see if it'll bring it up, even though it's on the second tab. That way you don't have to revert. You don't have to remember to revert to a certain tab. You just close it wherever it was. You know what I mean? To save you.
Yep. You're able to bring it up, and then because there was another command below that he put in there to tell it to grab the window and then bring it to the front and then maximize it. And then you could then run. I think he just literally ran the script again. But again, if you had to do a second script, I don't care because it's just one more thing you've got to do. And then that minimizes it. But he just literally ran the script a second time and it brought it up. Then it minimized it the second time. And I'm like, because I mean, even if it's already minimized, you get it. So it's always going to do one or the other. It's going to run through.
Yeah, it just recognizes what state the window's in and then it goes to the other state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that makes
and that would be kind of cool because then I could literally just grab the window that's already up there without having to create another chart and then just simply run the script to grab that window and then maximize it, But I do like the idea of having them all in one tab. That way I could just simply tab over, and that saves us having to do like, 5 or 6 scripts. That's just at the most it would be is 3, one to maximize it,
Yeah.
and then one to minimize it, and then obviously the tab's always going to work the same, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's just a matter of fudging with it to see what's going to take the least amount of coding in. But I literally got it down to such a freaking science now to where in the morning I fire up the laptop, get my remote access software is up and running to where I know I'm remoting into it. Okay, no problem on the tablet, and then I just bring up the Spy, bring up Notepad, so I'm already ready to edit it. As soon as I get Ninja loaded, then I just grab the window ID, hit save,
Yeah.
click it, and that's it. It's like
That's pretty good.
it's so like a routine now. I mean, it's like before it was taking hours to do that. Now it's like it's almost just a process.
Yeah, and I was even playing with, like, I don't know if you ever play with mouse macro recorders, where it just basically records your mouse movements.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
stuff.
like you can recreate your movements. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was even playing with that, so I didn't have to set up all the scripts manually. So I'd make sure all my windows are in the right place and get it to open Ninja, find the window ID, put it in the script. Like, you could automate that whole process, set up your remote access. You could set up a mouse macro to do all that for you at some point too.
Yeah.
So you just run the macro.
Yeah,
and
you
it'll
could probably
do all that.
exactly, and you could almost practically take it and probably find a script that literally just grabs that and automatically says, "Okay, you're going to grab this window ID, you're going to paste it here, and then automatically save it and
Yeah.
then run it." You could probably run a script that does all that automatically
Well, that's
on
what the
startup to where it.
maybe, but that's what the well,
Yeah.
that's a different way of doing it. Yeah, but the mouse macro recorder will do
Yeah.
that because we used to play RuneScape.
Yeah.
It was a video game, and you'd be cutting logs and shit or mining, and it would get boring. So you'd set up a macro to go click your
Yeah.
tree to cut it down, and then go to the bank and drop your wood off at the bank. And
Yeah.
we would just sit
It
there
would
all
like
day.
repeat that action like 1,000 times instead
Yeah,
of you doing
and
it
we
over
would just
and
let
over again.
and the computer
Yeah.
would just run itself and do that. But you had to be there because they would have random events to try and stop people from doing that. So somebody would just like appear and try to
Yeah.
fuck with you, and if you didn't like respond to them, then it would just kick you off the server. So you had to be there a lot of the time. But yeah, so
Yeah, it
That's
still
how I
saved a
know.
lot of movement and stuff like that though.
yeah. So I don't know. That'll be another step down the road. You get this dialed in, and maybe we'll see if we can figure something out where you just basically fire up the laptop, click one thing, and then it
Yep.
just fucking does all your window IDs, does
Yep.
all that shit for you.
Exactly. Automatically pulls your IDs and then pastes it into
Yeah.
the script file and then runs the script file when it's done. Yeah.
Because
I'm
it's
sure there's
already
a way to do it. It's just a matter of really getting into the hacking part of
yeah.
it.
And it's all right
Yeah.
right now, but trust me, I did it for a long time, and I had 8 instruments up, right? One, I don't know. It gets
Yeah.
monotonous. Trust me, it's all right now. It's cool and fun. Give
Oh,
it
yeah.
3-4 months, you can like, holy fuck, I'm tired of copying this
Oh,
window.
dude, when I'm done trading, trust me. I mean, because like I wouldn't even mind using the Stream Deck, but then it's just a matter of okay, as long as that window's up that I'm going to be trading in anyhow, then I can use it just to simply enter and order the trades, add the position, move to break even, that kind of crap. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait till I'm still out of the freaking truck and not having to do this shit anymore.
Yeah.
That's the goal number one there. Absolutely goal number one.
Takes time. You just gotta set yourself up for it.
Yeah, it does. It does. We'll get there, dude. I mean, I've been averaging literally, and I just don't even care at all. And I haven't even traded that account today, as a matter of fact, because I seen something weird, and this kind of ticked me off with Bullnox now. Is I did nothing crazy. It was like $39 yesterday. Just under the $50 limit. I did 2 quick macro trades, and then that was it. The one worked out perfectly, hit my target instantly, and then the next one was starting to work my direction, kind of started to fall apart. Finally went in my favor, so I closed it out. All right, $39, I'm done. But then I seen that it clearly recorded it in my balance because it took it over the $53,000 mark. Like $53,300 is where it was at. I log in today and it's minus that. It's like the trade never even happened. It's like,
Wow.
what the hell, dude? I mean, like, if you're gonna do that kind of crap and you're gonna make it so freaking hard for somebody to get to that freaking payout level, to where okay, what if that was I said screw it and did 3 macros and held it for freaking 20 points, and there's my $180 that I need to finish off the freaking their amount that they want you to have. And like that's just Apex has never done that. I've
No.
never had an issue. So it's like if you're going to do stuff like that to where you're just hoping that somebody gets, on the wrong side of a trade and, they just, go on tilt and all of a sudden, bam, there goes $1,500 in one trade. And I've done that before. But that's why I only on my funded accounts, man. That's it, I mean, so
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
kind
know.
of
I'm going to
bullshit.
give it a couple more tries, but I won't go with any of the. I'll just do, groups of 5 in Apex until I can afford to go with like, Take Profit Trader or Tradeify or something like that,
Yeah.
that's maybe has a little bit easier payout levels. But I'll just go with like several groups of freaking Apex because I think I'm at like 8 of the things now. I just got to get them activated. So I'm close to the 10 that I would need. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that Apex has a special again one day because they used to do it, when they run their deals where it's like $80 to activate the lifetime subscription for the accounts.
I had one that was cheaper. It was like
And
$40.
yeah, that
So
would be freaking
they
awesome.
do
Dude.
deals.
I'd
They do
activate like I don't
90%
care.
off a couple times a year, eh?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But right now it's like, 1 or 2 a week. That's fine. If I can do 1 or 2 more a week and get,
Oh yeah.
get at least even 4 of them going to where I can copy trade them, I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm perfectly happy with that. Oh,
Yeah, that's all you need. Hey, you're further ahead now than if you were if you never even started trading. So
oh,
you know
dude,
what I
man,
mean.
I'm telling you, just the process, of, I think honestly it's just a matter of, being patient. Like today, it's look at what price is doing this morning, it's up, down, up, down. There's no rhyme to reason what's going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, that pulled that drop down was nice. We caught some of that, and then okay, that around 10 o'clock, and sure enough, on the dot, just about, it starts to break out, and you catch the boom candle up, and that was a decent trade, even a good pullback to get back into the trade a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really go anywhere. Now it's just fizzling out pretty much.
Yeah, it'll probably hop up towards the end of the day. It'll probably be an afternoon day. It'll probably get some movement
Mm-hmm.
back. We're still within the morning range. We peaked above it. Well, NQ's above kind of, but for the most part, we're still hanging out in the morning range.
Yeah. Well, that's when hey, not when to trade, not until it
Yeah.
starts to, regain that smoothness at least for the leg, into the move, and then okay, I'm happy to get into a trade. But I know if I just keep that mentality up, wait for the smooth price action, wait for the good signals, 1 or 2 macros, that's it, and
Yeah.
just shoot for something that I know I could hit. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it. I mean, I'm thrilled with that.
Big push down right now too. Be a good trend line break to the
Yeah,
downside.
yeah,
This would be a good one.
starting to be a good
It's
break.
probably gonna go towards the bottom of the morning range.
Yeah, yeah. Take back everything that was made in the morning time,
Yeah, probably.
especially if it breaks through the super trend lines. That's the big thing. If it can break through those, and
Yeah.
you've got a good move on it. I basically broke even on Forex yesterday. I did a couple of trades on Forex. I did
Yeah.
2 wins and 2 losses, so I was like right where I started from. I mean, so it's like, all right, well, all right,
That's the way it goes. It'll take time to figure out. Even I'm still figuring it out here.
yeah, yeah. Oh, it was probably crappy price action, honestly. It was towards the end of the day, and I was still into Euro JPY for a little bit, and then nothing kind of happened there. Went into Euro USD, and it was actually still active for a while. It was actually
Yeah.
moving, so I'm like, all right, let's take that. And it looked like it was time for, it was just trending up and trending up and trending up. I'm like, all right, it's good for a breakdown anytime soon. So I was just waiting for the, 2 minute stochastics to start breaking down and wait for that entry signal. And it finally happened. I entered. That was a great trade. And then I thought it was pulling back up again, and it didn't. It just pulled back up to just freaking dump again. So then I lost that trade, and then I pretty much just recreated the same thing and USD JPY again. I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah, you gotta be careful about times of day. So like Euro JPY in the afternoon. Well, Europe's closed. Asia's closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely
Guys,
price
it's
has
my
to be
time to
moving.
go.
And
Okay. All right,
hey,
Oli.
Oli,
Good hanging out, buddy.
I need to go to work.
All right.
did your
Nice
system work
talking to
okay
you.
today for you? Well,
Sorry?
did your system work okay for you today? I seen your post. It looked like it did
Yeah.
pretty well today.
Yeah. It was quite good today. Both London and New York.
Good deal, man.
So yep.
Good deal.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a clear divergence, wasn't it, on the 9 and the 14 right before it started pushing up again?
Where? Which one are you referring to?
I think the last post you did, I think it was I posted just after you did.
Oh yeah. Then it was a good divergence, but it wasn't a quad, so that's why
Yeah.
I took profits early and then went short
Yeah.
because we had a divergence on the down on the short side.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always had a
Yeah.
hard time identifying the upper divergences because I don't know, maybe it's just how the stochastics are set up in my charts, or it's just harder. I don't know. It's to me, it's always been easier to see the long divergences than the short ones.
Yeah, but they are more secure.
Hey, I got a
Yeah,
quick
good deal,
question.
man.
Hey, I got a quick question for you guys, real quick. I'm looking at depositing Litecoin into one of my brokers, and it says address type. It gives me the option bench 32 legacy or P2 SH dash Segwit. It says bench 32 is the
It could
default.
be.
What do you think? Or does it
Yeah.
matter? I'm going from one Forex broker to the other. Will it matter or address type?
I
It's
don't.
it's usually the chain that they're trying to do. Does it give
Yeah.
you a confirmation that the wallet address is correct on that? Because sometimes if it's the wrong chain, it'll
I
have
don't have a
different
wallet address
prefix
yet.
or
I just got to
okay.
send the request to myself or whatever, but it says address type. It's going to create a wallet here for me to deposit into, but it wants to know, do I
For you
use
to deposit
bench
it.
32 legacy or P2SH Segwit?
I don't know for
Okay.
sure. I don't. Holly, do you know what the default chain is for? I don't
It
do
says
that
default
much of
is
Litecoin, honestly.
BECH32. I don't know. Maybe it depends on what the other
It's
Forex
the
broker
first
uses.
time that I hear something like that from me on my end. I haven't heard of it. I've
You haven't heard
like
of it?
what Oat said about the chain. That's the only thing that I used in the
Yeah.
past in order to
Okay.
make transactions.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Holy. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask real quick. I'll figure it out one way or another. No rush.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay. I mean, tomorrow morning I'm gonna be inside if you wanna take a look at that because
Yeah,
I wish I could do it right now, but I'm out of time,
I know.
unfortunately.
Yep. No. I don't need anything
But
moved
if
at
you
the
want me
moment.
tomorrow morning,
I'm not.
okay.
The only thing
So
was
if you want, we can check it out in the morning.
I see QQQ setting up. I don't want to take it, so I was trying to move money over to this other broker. But anyways, I don't need to do all this. It's good. It's for the better,
Yeah.
anyways. Okay. Thank you.
Right. When I
Okay.
get pulled over,
Alright.
I'll look for you too, because I had some Litecoin in my Trust wallet, and it usually has the default network. It'll let me know what it is.
Yeah.
So when I get pulled over, I can look at my Trust wallet and let you know what its default network is.
Yeah.
And it
Okay.
should be able to tell me what it is really.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Okay,
Guys,
Holy.
I need
Hey.
to rush. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, man.
Nice
See you,
talking.
buddy.
Take care, guys, and see you tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. Take
You
care.
have a good
Try
day
to
at
be
work
on.
today. Oh man.
What's going on? Are you driving? I'm just waiting.
I'm just driving through some freaking construction right now. Just
What microphone do you have? Because I
listening.
can't. It sounds like you're in like a quiet room all the time. I can't hear the truck. I can't hear anything else.
Oh,
ever.
it's just a big headset. It's just a big headset is all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Must have some good noise
Yeah,
canceling.
it's like a Blue Parrot is what it's called, and it's got like a pretty good earpiece on the side of it with the microphone that's like right next to your mouth, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So
It's
yeah,
probably a
it's
decent
and it's got a
headset,
lot of
eh?
noise canceling. Oh yeah, it's got a lot of noise canceling properties to it because it's designed literally for truck drivers because they're usually lots of road noise and just
Yeah.
engine sounds and stuff like that.
I was just
Yeah,
wondering, yeah, because I think Coffee was mentioning it too, and I can
yeah,
never hear anything. It sounds like you're just in like a quiet room with like a rug and you
yeah.
know.
It goes almost to the very back of the trailer, like I did earlier when I had to go out and open the back of the doors because I want to verify that the trailer's empty. You're not like grabbing a loaded trailer when you're not supposed to.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So it almost reaches to the very back of the trailer, but it reaches like, I could go out and get like fuel and stuff like that, but leave my phone in the truck and it'd be perfectly connected and you won't hear anything but me pretty much,
yeah.
you know. Maybe the sound of the truck if it's like beeping and screaming at you because you're doing something you're not supposed to, maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, like backing up with the radio on.
Yeah, yeah.
Or getting out with
Oh
your
my
yellow
goodness,
button pressed in.
oh man, I do that all the time because
Do you?
this thing here, my APU doesn't work properly. It's never worked right whatsoever. I need to take it in and get it maintenanced. And
Yeah.
usually, honestly, with Prime, they'll just take the damn thing off the truck and then put another one on because it's got so much wrong with it probably. So if it's over 80 degrees, the truck automatically shuts off in like 5 minutes. So the way to
Yeah.
get around that is to pull your trailer brakes, so that's what's going to hold you in place, and
Yeah.
then you could push in your truck brakes, so it fools it into thinking that it's driving, but it's just sitting still, and that
Oh.
overrides any of the auto kills. So you can keep your AC, your heat going, and it's outside of their temperature ranges.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but if you forget about that and you turn your truck off though, and then you go to open your door, it fucking beeps like it's
Yeah.
screaming bloody murder, dude. And you're like, oh shit! You pull the brake real quickly.
It's a bad
Whoops.
habit, and then you forget you don't have a trailer on. You start rolling away. Or no, I guess you just lose all your
Oh
air if you
no.
didn't have a trailer.
Yeah. Well, you could still, damn, they are pulling somebody the fuck over up there, or they're. Oh, that's why we're fucking going so slow. It's a damn fucking oversized load in a freaking very small 2-lane construction zone, and we're just cruising behind it, not going around it. That's why we're all going like 50 freaking miles an hour down this road. But yeah, that's I mean, it's kind of like what we're doing now, man. I mean, it's well, like okay, so when I don't have a trailer and I actually have some of those wheel chocks, and
Oh yeah.
I've got them for both sides of the tire, so I just take whatever tire is like flattest, and I'll stick one on each side of the tire, and that usually holds the truck in place. And I try to obviously find a spot where it's like okay, it settles into nicely, like a groove in a parking lot or something like that, and
Yeah, you let it
it
you
holds
let
it.
it roll to its own sitting spot first, and then
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and then block it up. But I'm almost always under a trailer though. The only time I'm not is when, like a case like now, where I might drop the empty trailer off, and then I'm waiting till later tonight until the load's ready. If it's not ready now, like those
Yeah.
are the rare times. Most of the time, I'm just dropping one load, running like 50, 60 miles to the next place, picking up that trailer, and then rolling back out again. So that's typically what happens for me, but I'm actually getting ready to pull in here in a minute and be like, all right, guys, this is enough, man. Y'all need to tell me if this freaking load's ready or not, or I'm going to shut down for, 3 or 4 hours, and I'll do it later this afternoon then.
Yeah.
I'm
How's
kind of
Cincinnati?
deciding.
Is it busy in Cincinnati?
Oh, I used to work with a small trucking company. I actually loved the company. They paid salary, but they were based out of Cincinnati, just
Yeah.
like northeast of Cincinnati. And it was a good place. I really enjoyed it. It was a small, like, 40, 50 truck operation. They owned a big, like, 3 million square foot warehouse. So they already had a really good income source coming in. They weren't
Yeah.
just a trucking company. And they paid salary. And that was good at first. That was like my first real job after I had like, a year and a half of experience. That was like my first real good paying job. But then after being there for a few years, it's like, okay, but now you're completely limited to whatever that salary is. And it doesn't matter how hard you work or how little you work,
Yeah.
you can't ever get better than that.
Yeah, that's
But
what's tough.
it was a good, yeah, but they had me home every weekend for the most part. And, I got to do whatever the hell I wanted to do pretty much. And it was a nice place to work at, but you know, my friend kept on talking me into wanting to go to GP Transco because they were like the fourth highest paying in the country at the time, and I finally changed my mind. I went to work there with my friend, and we did good. We did good for a good long time until they changed management and the industry started to, get into trouble a bit. So they started doing a bunch of these 200 and 300-mile loads, but still not paying any more by the mile. So we're doing twice the customer pickup and deliveries and always in and out of a major city, twice a day at least, sometimes 3 times a day. And you're spending most of your time at a dock or getting in and out of traffic jams. So I was like, yeah, this is not going to work anymore. You go from making like 2,000 a week, which is a good, good income for what we do for a living, and I mean, the amount of skill that's really needed just to drive a truck, it's practically non-existent. You're just driving forward 95% of the time.
Yeah.
But then I met up with Richard. He actually got me into trading prop firms and stuff like that, and he drove for Prime, and I'm like, dude, Prime's like the joke of the industry. Why would I ever work there? And he like showed me some of his pay stubs. I'm like, I'll be there in a week. So that's yeah. Well, our big yeah.
What about Swift? I heard a lot of bad. I always see on Instagram.
Oh
Swift.
yeah. Dude,
crashing
yeah,
and doing stupid
Swift
shit.
and Night Transportation, which they're owned by the same company. He's like, how did you get your truck like that? Like the thing is like aiming straight down in a freaking ditch. It's like, how did you even make that happen?
Well, the one good thing is
Prime's got a bad reputation too, though.
Trump just signed an executive order. You have to speak English to drive a transport truck.
Yeah, they're going to start literally, I think, when they do inspections, that's going to be part of the inspection. And if you fail that part of it, that's a valid reason to get put out of service.
That's crazy. And that's, people are going to be like, oh, that's racist. But, at the end of the day, if you got hazardous shit and you got this and that and, stuff hits the fan, you got to be able to communicate properly. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be what saves our industry. Yeah, I think it's going to be what saves it. Yeah. I mean, because we just got so much cheap freight because the foreigners are coming in and they're working for nothing, and they're barely working for like, a 20-cent a mile profit after fuel and expenses.
And they're happy. They'll come to this country. They'll get 2 families in a home. 2 of the younger brothers will get in a truck and they'll just run that. You know what I mean? It's just like... I'm sorry, but
they can live out of their truck and make even if they made $500 a week, dude. They don't even make $500 a month where they come from, so they are tickled to make $500 a week.
And they're undercutting us
and run their ass off.
And people that want to try and live a normal life, like you don't want to live with your wife's in-laws and then your parents and your kid's kid. You don't want all that in a household. I'm sorry. I mean, some cultures are like that, but we're not, and that's not what we built these countries on.
And like rent where I live at, we live in a small, cheap neighborhood. We live just south of Knoxville, Tennessee, in Maryville, and that place used to be, $700-800. You are living in like a great freaking place to live. Now you can't find a place for $1,200 a month, and it's usually a freaking shithole. I mean, you're paying $1,500 to $1,900 a month to live someplace decent, but the wages aren't supporting that. It's not like the wages have gone up with the cost of living and expenses. They've stayed the same for the last 5 years, while rent's been going up 20% a year every year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
crazy. It happens here. You'd be surprised how often they're catching people. They'll put a milk crate between the seats, and that's where the third guy will sit. And they're getting pulled over, and they're getting caught with 3 guys in a truck and 1 license. Only one of them has a license, and there's 3 guys in a truck. These guys are getting caught all the time like that. You know what I mean? Because you can't tell the difference. By the time you put a turban on and you grow a beard, and it's like, I'm not even being funny. I'm being serious. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, well, some of the training trucks now, dude, are, instead of having like you got your normal seat and then you've got for your team driver the second bunk right above that, and there's usually space you could sit up and never touch the ceiling. They take that second bunk out and they build 2 bunks in its place, so there's literally 3 beds in the back plus the driver, so they'll have 3 to 4 people at a time in a freaking truck.
And they just
And that is
hide
just
under the blankets at the scale or whatever.
that's legal supposedly. Like you could have 3
Oh.
people in a truck as long as there's a place for them to sleep. I guess it's legal because Knight used to do that a lot. Knight and Swift were really bad with when I was first learning how to drive, it was exploding. Every right, got 20 minutes of live trading or of live actual driving.
Yeah.
Lucky, so we were like just pushed out through the door with our CDL school with no experience, and we barely were able to pass our test because we got like, okay, you're behind the wheel and you go from this exit to the next exit, pull over, the next guy gets over. It's like, so yeah, when we were doing some training, I was going to go to work for Stevens Transport. They were a reefer carrier, and I was going to go to work for Stevens Transportation for a while. And that's what they were doing. They had freaking 3 bunks in the back and 2 trainees plus the trainer. So 3 people in a truck. And that's just how they did it because they just didn't have enough trainers. They didn't have enough trucks, and too many people they needed too many people at one time.
Yeah.
So it was horrible, dude. It was absolutely freaking horrible, man. I mean, just
It's tough.
yeah.
If they did that here in Canada, you have to speak pretty fluent English to pass, dude. It would take out a lot of drivers. It would probably almost crash the industry to the point where they wouldn't be able to find drivers. But it would recover with people who are getting paid better. So
yeah.
but
I
then
mean,
everybody
and
would
it should
cry.
be though. I'm like, if you want to come over here and do it the right way and learn it, like if we were going to go over to Indonesia or wherever, Russia, it doesn't matter where, but if we were going to go to another country and we were going to drive trucks for them, we would at least learn the very basic language, because you would want to, much less need to.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you're going to make sure that you're proficient. You know what you're doing. I mean, you're going to go get your visas and your green cards and whatever you got to do to be able to work. If you want to come over here and do it the right way, man, I am all for that. I have no problem with that. Just do it the right way. There's plenty of people that are doing it the right way, and it's not hard to do, but they don't. They go to the sanctuary cities and they get these non-resident, non-permanent CDLs where they've got no supporting documentation.
Yeah.
And they get issued a CDL with just a rubber stamp now, and it's like, it's just, yeah. I mean, it takes what's usually a 6 to 8 month, downturn in our industry in America when we're having like a really bad freight time. It lasts for like 6 to 8 months, and then it starts to recover. And I've gone through a couple of cycles of this already, and because of the cheap freight that they're having and the cheap drivers, it's lasted for almost 2 years now, and it's absolutely destroying other businesses. I mean, so many companies are starting to go under because they just can't afford to keep up.
Yeah, I know. And the shitty part
I
is
mean,
if it helps save the industry, then it's just like these big companies, they're always just going to pass the buck. Oh, well, now it costs us more to move freight because we got to pay guys more money. Now you're going to pay for it. So, you know what I mean? Rather than just taking the hit, they're going to just make everybody else pay for it.
Oh,
it sucks.
Yeah. Because look at how when freight was back in the 70s and 80s, drivers were making more than we're making now. And look at what the cost of living was back then. You can make this. That's how these drivers were starting, from 1 or 2 trucks, and they would blow up into 20 trucks, and then they blow up into 100 trucks because the trucks were making money, and you could actually make good money off of a, $20,000 investment. You had the $20,000 to put into that. Now it's just, you're barely doing better what you can do at home most weeks, and that's how this job is kind of got. You can kind of game the system with this company. There's a way to game the system and keep on putting your home counter to different areas where there's good money and freight. That's what Richard does. And that forces them to kind of give them the better freight. But he'll sit there for sometimes 2 days or longer until they give him the load that he wants to get into the other side of the country versus doing a bunch of smaller loads here and then maybe getting a couple of good loads. I mean, yeah, you still turn non-good paying freight down that you're not making money on, but that's how he does it. My thing is like, dude, I've got a family. I've got a kid. I take care of my mom. She's on Social Security. I pay half of her bills for her. I can't afford to sit for 2.5 days and not make a paycheck for 2 weeks because I'm holding out for the better loads. I mean, I can't afford to do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can see why you want to get out so bad.
Well, I mean, I would even be happy, like, hauling fuel or, I don't care what it is, chemicals. Like, I'm trying to find something that's like a niche market that can do like a second shift type of a thing, which is, it's very specific. So it's going to take a while to find the right thing. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm wanting to do, though, is to try to find something that's a little nichey to where it still pays very well, and they're not trying to work, because yeah, there's work from home jobs, fine, but they're 14 hours a day they want you to work, and then you got to drive an hour to work, an hour home, and you're barely making $1,200 a week if you're lucky, 5, sometimes 6 days a week. So it's like you're basically never home then.
Yeah.
And I know that wouldn't work. I know it wouldn't work, because I don't even sleep that much. I could get away with 3-4 hours a day of sleep and still work a 10-12 hour a day, and then trade for 3 or 4 hours a day, and
That's all
have time to do other stuff.
That's all the Red Bull. That's how you do that.
Yeah, probably so, man. You seen the Red Bull in the picture?
Yeah. Do they still have those blue
Yeah.
pills? I remember when I was an apprentice, my boss was talking about they used to have these blue pills that would keep them awake.
Yeah, I don't know how good they are now anymore. Back in the day, I'm sure they were made up of stuff that you really didn't want to know. Like there's probably have speed and crap like that you were taking, but
Probably.
now it's just, who knows if it worked. Like they have like the no-dose stuff. Now in the military had some really good shit. You could take these little white tablets that came in a little cardboard like folder almost. You just rip it open, and they had these 2 white no-dose tablets is what they call it. And dude, you were freaking up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were wide awake. They had them literally every freaking airport, because you're always, when I was overseas, you're always jumping from one place to another. And the best way to get there is pretty much just fly in and out of there, on either Black Hawk or, Chinook or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and every place that you were taken off at, that's where they kept them at. They just like a whole bucket of them.
Just
Whoever
little
wanted
white
them could take them,
tablets?
because yeah, these I don't, they weren't even stamped or nothing. There was just the little cardboard, like almost looked like a batch book, but it was all flat, and then it had a little perforated edge on the top. You rip it off and just down it, and there you go.
Oh,
I mean,
you didn't know what it
and I couldn't tell you, but by God, it kept you awake though.
was?
I mean, you could literally just pop 2 of those a freaking morning, and by God, you were up the whole day and the whole night, man.
Wow.
I mean, you were like, you felt wide awake for a good 6 hours, because sometimes you're waiting 6 hours to get around someplace, because you're like, hey, I only need to go like 100 miles up the road from Fallujah to Ramadi, but then you're in mid-flight, then all of a sudden, either they caught a mission or they had to catch something and they're diverting. So now you're like hopscotching around the whole freaking country, and by the time you get where you're going to, it's like you'd have made a 500-mile round trip, bebopping around the area. So
Yeah.
it's like I just want to go around the corner, man. Shit, I'll drive there myself.
How long were you in the military?
I was in the military that day I turned 17, and I never got deployed, so I went to work for the Department of Defense for about a year and a half, and then I was there for another year and a half, a little bit longer than that, for Department of State. I originally went there because they had a lot of contracting issues with like KBR, some of the bigger contractors, and I was a contractor from Florida. So if you either had, some sort of like a legal expertise or any kind of contract knowledge, and general contractors were included in that, because that was part of our job, was to develop and write and understand contracts. So I went over there to work with RTC Command to just kind of like sift through some of the stuff and develop some, SOPs and stuff like that, to be able to kind of sift through what was good, what wasn't good, whether they're getting their job done. And it was cool. It was rewarding. And then I made the very, very bad idea of going to work for the Department of State after that. And that's where I got my clearance from. And it was fun, but it was just a different, like, yeah, dude, those guys were just never up to any good, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they never were, dude. It's like, it was not a good idea to be there, man.
A lot of
I
corruption,
mean,
eh?
it needs to be done. We did things like, hunting for nuclear waste and nuclear weapons. Like that was one of our mission statements.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, none of that crap's classified now, but like that was part of our job. a guy would literally come up to us wherever we were. He always knew the hell where I was, and he'd come up with like a freaking sticky note folded in half with GPS coordinates, and within like 5 hours, I had to have freaking like all this equipment at that location, no questions asked. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that was like part of our job that we did, and it was like, yeah, we never found anything. That's why, I mean, that's the whole point of it. Bunch of crap that probably should have really been thrown away, but that's about it, really.
That's super interesting.
But yeah, I had fun, man. I had a good time. We built APHIS, the fingerprint, the thing that scans your fingerprint, runs your fingerprint, compares it.
Oh yeah.
We found a whole bunch, like 300,000 fingerprint cards in one of Saddam's palaces, and they wouldn't let us take the actual documents off site, off of the country. So we had to build like a freaking $10 million data center and APHIS system, and we built the entire thing. And I had computer experience, but I had absolutely no Linux experience. And of course, the entire thing was freaking built off of Linux. I'm like, okay, I'm taking freaking like crash courses on Linux like immediately,
Yeah.
trying to figure this out. But I learned it. I figured it out. We got the damn things working.
That's interesting. Well.
So, yeah, it was fun. But
were you ever in places where you could get bombed or shot?
Fuck yeah, dude. We got shot at all the freaking time. One of my better jobs, and honestly, this was like probably one of my more rewarding jobs, was when I first went to work for Department of Defense. We had to go and look at all the little like contracts, the small contracts for these COBs, which is central operating bases, like bases basically with between 50 and 150 personnel. And they had to have certain things, certain requirements, like showers, a small eating facility, just very basic stuff, satellites so they can have communications, because these people were out these small little places in the middle of freaking nowhere, and they had absolutely no way to communicate with their families. They couldn't call home. They were just stuck there in crap. And these companies were charging millions of dollars to freaking supposedly supply all this stuff, and either it was there and it was never hooked up, or it was just an absolute like, no, this is not gonna work. And so I would go from literally like cob to cob, like 2 or 3 a week, and I'd go there, see what they had, write this study, and then force whoever did the contract to do their job, and then I had to go and inspect it when they got it done. And it was cool because I'd go there and I'd hook up the guys with like high speed internet when they weren't supposed to have it. I'm like, because I like threaten the contractors, like, dude, I can either fine your ass and find someone else to do this, and you got to repay the money, or you give these guys like the best freaking eating facility. I want high speed internet so everybody can freaking stream like Netflix and freaking do Discord chats with their family and shit like that. So that's the kind of stuff I got to do, and that was fun, man. But yeah, we were like, our headquarters for our main area was like probably 20 miles outside of Baghdad. So like that's where we were. And it's like, I mean, yeah, it was a different world, dude. I mean, I'd be like on the phone with my wife on like the little freaking Haji net that we'd be running, and all of a sudden you like a freaking car bomb goes off like right around the block, and I'm like on the roof of the building because it's the only place I can get signal. I'm like fucking thrown halfway across the freaking roof. My phone goes sliding across the freaking thing over the freaking edge. So I'm like, my wife's like, what the fuck is going on with you? I'm like, oh, nothing. It was fine. They're just, shooting some shit. I never told my wife what the hell was really happening. I still never told her what's happening over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean, she knew. I was gonna go to Afghanistan at some point in time, but my wife is like, no, you fucking go over there. I'm not gonna be here when you come back. So, yeah.
Stress.
Oh man, there's really not too much going on. I mean, we're like pushing down and then we're pulling back. We're pushing down. I mean, looks like YM is starting to really fall down, and the others are kind of trying to fall down and then swinging back and forth, but just really, really horrible price action. I'm glad I'm not trading no more today.
Yeah, it feels like an afternoon push kind of day where it's going to do this till like 130, and it'll kind of slowly pick direction, and then around 250 to 245 it'll probably start pumping, and then it'll close. Where are we on the week? This is when I look at the daily and I see how they want to make it look for the weekend.
Yeah. Can you pull your daily chart up?
Yeah, I can pull it. Here's my NQ daily. Let's see what we got. So yeah, so we're.
I look at that. What day was that?
Yeah, it's been a lot of updates, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Doji.
And we just broke above that little ledge on that big day that we had, you know. So
yeah, right there. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, that's
probably...
the beginning. Yeah. And we're at the very upper end of it too. I mean, that's like we're either going to continue and break out and make a new range, or we're going to start retracing to the other side of it.
Let me just pull up a different time. Hold on.
Yeah, see, I think I have to do that in Trading View because I don't have the volume profile for that.
Okay, U.S. equities RTH. So what this is going to do, should cut out the overnight action. So you'll actually see, because futures run 23 hours. Boom, I just hit my target on QQQ. God, that was a nice rollover. That's what I wanted. God damn it. Are you watching? Here it is here on the Forex.
Oh, you took the short?
Yeah, and look, all morning it didn't go red all morning. It was green. Boom. So got in there, stop here, target there, bang. That's the trade I was trying to get into earlier when I was trying to move my Litecoin. This is what I was watching. Nice little boombox breakout too, eh? Look at that. Bang. Broke out of that. High of the New York session there. Rolling over, but then of course the other ones. This was just sim, by the way, obviously. Right, the 30-minute was pumped up. The 6-minute was just fucking jacked right at 100. The stochastic sitting right at 100.
Yeah, just asking to freaking do a pullback, you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting. The indices are interesting on this platform. So you see the first candle there, that big, it looks like a huge boom candle. It doesn't even show, this is only real-time hours. It doesn't even show pre-market or anything. So it's kind of interesting where, I don't know. It doesn't take into account pre-market action, just last day to this day. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And that's why we didn't get any red candles, because we didn't have, because it gapped up, right? We didn't have all that pre-market action that would have allowed these moving averages to kind of catch up. So the moving averages, like they ended wherever, well, you can see them highlight as I go over them. But yeah, the moving averages were like down here, so then it gapped up. And by the time moving averages caught up enough that we could get a red-bodied candle, right, which is the 21 EMA slope down, it took this long to get it. So it's interesting that we're skipping overnight data, and it's just real-time data. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. Today it played out really good because, look, obviously there was not even this is the first red candle of the day. So I find it interesting. Compared to the futures. So I really want to see how that plays out. But so far so good. Even yesterday, we had a really good one too. Where was yesterday's? Here it is here. Yeah, this is... Yeah, that's today. This is yesterday. Look, bang. First boom candle on Qs. And just sold.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the thing about this, Obi. And they are even the continuation, like how it pulled up right to the bottom of the stochastics and just kept on pushing a little bit. And then, you know, you were going to obviously hit that previous price action. That's where you target. And then, I mean, it just a boom candle to the upside, you know, I mean, and the stochastics hit the bottom. So if you just took trades from the bottom to the top and then got out of it whenever it broke, you know, a boom candle down, or, you know, just whatever, you know, worked in your favor, you know, I mean, that's all you had to do.
Yeah. It's just looking so
and
clean
just ride the stochastics to the other side, you know.
Very 12. futures 2 days ago. So this is Wednesday. What did we do Wednesday? So here's the open. Oh, okay. So we pushed out, 9:30 open, and then I guess we gapped down because that was the close of the previous day. So we gapped down, and then look, first boom candle. Took a while because it's taken into account. It's not taking into account any overnight action. So there would be nothing here because it's a Heikin-Ashi. You see a candle, but if it was regular candlesticks, it would just be gap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it also messes with the lines. Like you can see the ATRs. You see how far away. Look at how far away the ATR is. So it just takes a while for everything to turn around, which might be a good thing. You know what I mean? You don't get caught up. But yeah, same thing. Look at that. Boom candle. Look. If you just held it to the first red candle, look at that move. Now this is per share. It's the same thing as the shares, eh? So you get in. What is that? 465.99. You could, get out 470. I mean, that's like fucking huge, man. So this is what I was looking at. I'm finding it very interesting. Now this is the shares, right? I don't know if you've looked.
And it almost is like when you get into a trade like this. Well, they've got QQQ and TQQQ if you want to play a smaller size of it, or you just do a smaller lot size for Qs.
TQQQ doesn't even load up on the chart, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, I just looked at it on the watch list. I pulled up QQQ, but I didn't pull up TQQQ.
It doesn't work.
Searched for it.
But those are the.
But it's like with this, though, it gives us the ability to trade like you would an option. But you don't have to trade an option. You don't have to worry about theta.
Exactly.
Like a 0.01 and just hold it for the whole day. And maybe run your stop loss up. Just keep trailing your stop loss a little bit as you're moving into position. Give yourself some room, but, just killer moves, dude. And like you said, on the first from one side to the other, if you just waited, even if it took every other day, that was where you were getting to a trade. That's fine.
Yeah, you got all year to do it, right? But this is the futures now. The SPX, NDX, and DJI USD. Those are the futures equal, and they don't trade the same because they do pre-market and 24 hours, right? So the data reads a little different. You don't get moves as smooth like we'll look at today. That's why I found that one QQQ contract so interesting. You see today, so here's QQQ, which is the same chart I was looking at. Yeah, boom candle, fake out, boom candle. Google probably had a nice day. Yep, same thing with Google. Google runs really nice too.
I love these boxes too, because if you're not sure about a trade or if you didn't catch the first boom candle, you can just wait in for the consolidation box breakout, and there's always a trade there.
Yeah, too bad there's no SPY. There's only a QQQ one. I wish there was a SPY one to trade, but I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Good little move there. Bang. So, yeah, having fun with it. Anyway, so I don't know what they're going to do for the day. They might try to pump it up even more and be like, oh, we had the best week since whatever, January. And then everybody be like, okay, buy. And then, look, we got all this to run back down into. Possibly. We'll see. But anyway,
dude, that's all we can do is we'll just see what happens, man.
Because, well, it's almost noon.
Okay,
and
man.
I'm trading, and I gotta go work on the garden. We're getting the garden set up for the year, so I'm gonna make a trellis for all the vine plants and whatever. So.
Well, if you're bored over the weekend, man, hit me up. I'm gonna just get things more together for my charts and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll be around a little bit doing. I guess I'm gonna test these dots. I'm gonna get the numbers dialed in for the delta dots.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're too low.
Yeah, let me know what the best settings are. Yeah, let me know what the settings should be, and that way I can go around and put it together.
We'll check it out. Like I said, I know ES is set too low because I'm seeing a bunch of purple dots, which is supposed to be extreme delta, and it's happening all the time. So that doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
The other ones seem to be all right.
Yeah.
NQ might be a little bit low too because I'm seeing a lot of extreme deltas all the time, which, it's just normal price action. So I shouldn't be seeing extreme delta in certain spots. So, and yeah, we'll test that out. We can change the moving averages for the volume spikes down below on Macastics, but yeah, I'll play with that, get that dialed in a little. It's actually been helping me out. You know how I've been using it on the higher time frames. So the delta dots and the momentum, I've been looking at the higher time frames, and if I'm looking for it to turn around like a reversal, and I'm seeing negative delta over the course of a couple 6-minute candles, I know that price is, starting to get a lot of down pressure on it. And I've been watching it more on the higher time frames.
So let you know that the move is actual real, then, not just a fake out. Then.
Yeah, or it's starting to reverse because we're seeing, like, if you look at NQ at the bottom here, you see that it had a dark green, which was high delta, and then the next candle was extreme negative delta, and then light negative delta. You know what I mean? These 3 candles, you can see it go from extreme positive to extreme negative and negative. And then you look at the small time frame and you see it turn around. So it's kind of telling you, like, hey, we're starting to get more sell pressure coming in over the longer term, like over the course of 10, 15 minutes. So I've been using that more than I've been using it on the smaller time frame because it can change so much. But I'm able to kind of see how it's trending on the higher time frames, if that makes sense. But I don't know. We'll see how we use it.
Yeah, I was interested in how you actually trade that.
Yeah, but like I said, it's there, and I like having it in conjunction with momentum too, so you can see, hey, momentum is up, but selling pressure is down, so prices or momentum is diverging from sell pressure. I don't know if that means it's going to turn around or continue. That's something I kind of got to look at and figure out. But I don't know. It's good data, anyways. It's solid. Like, it's actually the volume of the buying orders and the volume of the selling orders, so it's good data. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I'll hit you up if I'm around. I'm always around, kind of, but if I'm on and you want help with something, and
yeah, mainly I'm interested to see how you trade that too, because I have an issue with back testing, so I'm just able to look at live data, so it's going to take me longer, but any insights would be good to have, though.
Yeah, I was scrolling back on the charts. You know what I found more recently, that I used to do a lot more scrolling back on the charts, like almost every day, and then replay on the weekends. And the replay's fine, but the scrolling back on the chart, because I'm using my intuition a lot and reading the price action, and I'm looking at setups. I'm like, oh, that would have been a loser. But then I can see, because it hasn't marked on the chart, that I got in, got out, and profited. I'm like, okay, well, looking back on the chart, it didn't have enough movement for me to make profit, but whatever I did in the live market, I front run the move or whatever I did, and I made profit. So it's become more difficult for me to kind of scroll back and look at charts, because you know what I mean. I'm reading it in the moment, and it's influencing my decision. So yeah, but whatever works. But anyway, yeah. All right. Well, I'll hit you up. Are you just on the road all week? I guess all weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to be working all weekend long, so but the thing is, with your intuition and your discretion, it comes with that screen time. And as we add things and we kind of tweak our process of how we're doing things, it's just going to help you get better, So I think we'll find ways to where, yeah, we could see if we're in a good move that, okay, we may not even expect this to run. Like, maybe it's not turning around. It's just doing like a 25, 30% pullback before it continues, but the move's big enough to where it's triggering all the algos, everything is going. There's, money to be made on the move. And that kind of gives you a heads up when things are starting to turn around,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see how we do that. But yeah, no, I'm working all weekend long as usual. When I'm out, I pretty much work 7 days straight. I mean, maybe one day a week I might, have an early drop off, and like my pickup's not till like the next morning or like really early in the morning, so I'm done early. But That's the most I hope for, you know,
Yeah.
while I'm out,
Yeah.
but cool, man. Well, let me know what, yeah, if you're around, just hit me up. I'll be online all day, or if I'm not in Discord, like earlier, just text me because I can't always keep Discord up unless I'm like watching your stream. So
You don't
if
have
I
it on
don't
your
see it,
phone?
just message me. I do, but I don't get any alerts. I mean, well, I get so many alerts. Is the problem, I guess.
Oh, so you
It's
just turn
hard
it
to do
off.
the alerts with, yeah. So I had to have my notifications on because I get blasted with them if I do.
Because you're so
So it's kind of
popular.
like, well, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. But if you could just throw me a text. But
Yeah, yeah.
hey, if you're not gonna do some like chart review and stuff like that, just hit me up and I'll gladly come over and I'm just driving, not doing nothing anyhow. I may
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well
Did you
jump
get my
on with you.
text? I texted you earlier.
Yeah, I seen that, and then I was able to jump on.
Oh, I see. You
So that
replied. Okay.
it would be helpful, especially if you're gonna do. Yeah, I reply back to it,
Sorry, yeah, I didn't even see.
but no, it's okay, man. Because again, you got your Discord up,
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you're gonna do some review, especially if we're gonna look at how this, helps us now that you've got some live data or you did do your tick replay, you know,
Yeah.
I definitely like looking at seeing out. Okay, yeah, this could help us here. This could help us there. Like that. That's invaluable. Putting the time in, putting the work in, that's invaluable to me. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
cool, brother.
I'll let
Go.
you know.
Yeah, go. Have fun. We still did good today. I had a great first week for the whole little mobile trading station, dude. I mean, I had a fantastic week, man. I think I did
Yeah.
like almost $2,000 in that one Apex funded account
Do you think
that I
that
ended
the
up turning
Stream
into
Deck
like my just
was the Stream Deck part of why you were able to do that?
without a doubt. Well, okay, look at
Cool.
like my Elite Trader funding accounts that I have. I have that Elite Trader funding that I'm only doing 1, 2, maybe 3 macros, and it's just an eval because I'm only testing it on the eval. But I was doing a consistent, 1, 2, 300 a day every day with you because we were seeing that big push one way or the other. And then I would jump into the trade with you, and it was like just a clear, yeah, this made sense,
Yeah.
this worked. So without a doubt, man, that helped. No, absolutely no doubt.
Cool.
That let me participate. That's why I wasn't
Yeah.
always in the market with you guys, because if I wasn't pulled over, I'm like, you get frustrated not being able to participate.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, then I'll join when I get pulled over. And sometimes by the time I get pulled over, you guys are done for the day,
Yep.
So it's kind of
that's
like,
cool.
but this way, unless I'm like today where I'm physically like at a shipper trying to get out of it to get to the next place and I'm stuck doing that out of the truck. But for the most part, if I'm just driving, whether I'm delivering or not that day, I'm able to at least like jump on, see your screen, see if there's any good moves to be made. And even just watching your screen on your phone, I'm able to, I took a couple of scouts when I seen things turning around. I seen it on your phone. I'd be able to glance down, say, yeah, this is pushing down at least to, I love the super trends, man, because even if it breaks the one super trend, I could scalp it to the third super trend when it's got a little bit of space. And that's almost always a sure thing. It's like, I think I caught like 35 points today just by scalping to the third super trend, I mean,
yeah.
so it was beautiful. I think
Cool.
I did like 250 in that one evaluation, So if I just decreased my risk, I think it was like maybe 3 micros at a time. So if I just kept it to 1, 2 micros at the most, that's easily 100 a day by either waiting for us to see the breakouts and we both confirm it. But because, you're there, you're able to physically see it and see some of the things that I don't have a chance to look at. So that helps me kind of like get reassured. Well, from what I'm glancing at, it looks like we're rolling down, but you're able to see it and see things more clearly than I am because of course you're right there in front of it. So even if it's one trade, man, one trade a day, that's the difference of, it only takes one trade a day, $50, $60 a day.
if you
across
had
5
20
accounts
accounts,
eventually.
if you had 20 accounts and a bit of a buffer, and you were taking 5 micros, and you were to take one trade a day like that would add up at the end of the month. That would be over 10,000 for a
Yeah,
month.
dude, even if it was 100 a day, and like you said, do like a $300 buffer. And if I hit that buffer, then I go down to 1 micro until I build it back up again. But
Yeah,
then when I get it, for like every $100 buffer I can put into it, that protects you. Like once I hit profit target, put a few $100 buffer in, and then I could start putting on more macros for like every $100. I could put on
yeah,
another macro up to 5, and then, whether it's scalping down to the third, super trend because that's all I need, or we catch just the whole flush. But honestly, when we start seeing things break down, turn around, break through the first super trend, if there's room, you can scalp it to the third super trend and good,
yeah.
and you see those kind of moves all the time, I mean, so dude, it's what you're doing for me is invaluable. You should know that.
That's
It's
crazy.
absolutely
I'm
invaluable.
happy.
Yeah, me too, dude. I mean, I am. This is working, and I have not had a red day yet. Like on that eval, I think it's already at like over $1,200. I just started it on Monday
Yeah.
when I left
Wow.
with you. I traded a little bit that day, and then I traded a little bit on Tuesday with you. But then when I left on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm just watching a trade, doing your thing, and it's holding beautifully.
That's
So
crazy.
cool, man. No,
Yeah.
it's appreciated, dude. It really is. I'm having an absolute blast doing this.
Yeah,
I
I just
mean,
want to
and
change
like I said,
maybe
I'll start.
if I could change a couple people's lives, even one, that would be pretty cool through all this. You know, that's part of
Yeah,
it for me.
especially if I can get myself to where I've got a system, whether or not I'm trying to catch the whole move, or I just catch the breakout to the super trend, or maybe I start catching the breakout of the third super trend. Like okay, maybe that has a worse, you know, win rate overall. So maybe it's okay, you don't take a trade until it breaks the third super trend. Like I'll find that sweet spot of what works for me, of what I can see while I'm, working, and then what I could see with you, on the charts. And then just pick what, the happy median, what works best, what has a better risk to reward ratio, what gives us, that even a 70% win rate, and we pretty much have a 90% win rate, but shit, 70% is fine. you know.
Yeah, yeah. On average, I had a couple bad weeks, but on average, even over the last 2 months, it's north of 85% win rate for me.
Yeah.
If I take
Yeah.
it the
And
worst week. Yeah.
all I'm trying to catch is like, 10, 20 points a day on, on 5 macros would be amazing. I would be happy doing 3 macros. But if I could catch that, like maybe catch the first 10 points, great. Now I could take the second 10-point trade. If I lose that, I've got one last trade to either, get that back to 10. But to me, after 3 trades, I'm not trading in the funded accounts anymore. And, just kind of like you have a buffer to add more macros, once you get that first 10-point win, try for the 20-point win. Done for the day.
Yeah.
I mean, like all right, buddy. Good, man. I know you got to go, dude. Yeah, when you're around, let's, even if we're just chatting over the weekend, I don't care, dude. Hit me up.
Okay, yeah. I'll hit you up for sure.
All right, brother. Appreciate everything, dude. I had a good week with you, man. I really did.
Good. I'm happy you
I'll
made money and everything.
dude, I'll post some of the results too, like some of the trades and some of the screenshots and like
Sure.
just different things like that. I wanted to do like a review, like my first week with the mobile trading system and everything. I
Yeah,
want
you
to post
should.
what that is. So yeah,
Yeah. Give other people inspiration because it can be hard to trade, but you know, when
yeah,
others see like, when somebody that's committed what they do versus what a committed person does to make it work versus what they're doing, sometimes they'll see, well, holy shit, like I work from home and you know, I can sit here and look at the charts. This guy's out driving across the country, and this is what he has to do, and he's making it work. And there should be no excuse why I can't make it work.
yeah.
You know
Should
what I
be
mean?
absolute yeah. Whether or
Yeah,
not that person has the ability to do what I'm doing, or like, hey, you have an hour lunch break, that's fine. There's a lot that happens, even if it's like I try to come up with a system of When it breaks one super train, you take it to the third. You went to the third super train. There's enough, even in 1 hour's time, if that's all you get for your lunch break, to take your tablet with you, load up the system, and start trading.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to do. Even if it's like you got to leave your computer at home and use the remote software that you showed me and remote into it from $100 tablet from Walmart. That lets you do everything you got to do and remote into it and still work.
You can even run a VPS, and you can run NinjaTrader on a virtual server and remote into that. You don't even need a computer. You know what I mean? You can just remote into a cloud from any tablet and run it. So.
Yeah, there's always a way to do it, man. There's always a way. Like I'm getting ready to get a mini PC because I like my laptop, but I like to have something a little bit more, spunk in it. And I don't need a laptop because I'm literally always remoting into it from my tablet. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. They're about probably $360 to $450 for really. I want to get like at least a 12-core processor, with at least 32 gigs of built-in memory that I can upgrade it to 64.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would like to get for like the perfect, full system where I can put unlimited charts. Don't have to worry about it getting hot because this laptop's older. It gets hot easy. I always have to like keep it on a flat surface, with the fan on it, so it doesn't ever over hot. But that's because of the monitor gets hot. That's because there's a battery back there that's charging. With all the other stuff, which is the mini PC, it's just the freaking processor running, so you can stick it anywhere really. But cool, man. Good deal, brother. We'll get it done. I appreciate that. Awesome week, man. I really had a blast.
Good. Well, hopefully next week it'll be the same and rocking and rolling. We'll get into the summer. We'll get some nice, clean, choppy price action for us. Predictable reversals and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking for.
Yep, really cool. The futures isn't doing it for us. We can just jump over to Forex and see if there's some there we can trade,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe NGS is a little choppy or weird, but the QS is about a perfect, move that we're able to see, either catch the continuation part of it or to get that first reversal from. That seems to be the best trade name. When the stochastics are on one side or the other, take the trade. Once you see the breakout on the lower time frame, and then it's like you get that boom candle to break out. Dude, you can almost just trade the stochastics when they're very tight.
Yeah, I mean that's my bread and butter, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like how Foley trades it, but I like the way that we trade it better. I love the multi-stochastics. I love having the money flow embedded into it. I can see the stochastics